This video is sponsored by Yellowhammer Toolworks. Hey, I'm Matt. Today I want to share with you 5 reasons to add a bandsaw to your workshop. After that, I'll share with you the features of this Rikon bandsaw provided by Yellowhammer Toolworks, and I'll tell you what I like, what I don't like, and what I would change if I could. So cutting curved parts could be anything from just needing to cut a curved profile on things, making tulip bases for tables if you've seen those, and then making stuff like this unique looking table leg you can do nowhere else other than a bandsaw. Not easily anyway. As you can see, I didn't really even lay out any lines here. I just basically sketched a rough draft and then just kind of roughly cut it out. I didn't even take my time because it doesn't really matter the shape you're cutting. It'll work out every single time to make a really cool looking leg like this. That would make a phenomenal looking table leg. Then you could cut, 3 more to match that if you actually laid them out. I wanted to just kind of give you a proof of concept. There's actually a video by Woodworker's Companion. I think that's the name of the channel. I'll drop a link in the description. It shows you how to make these. He done tables. He done a bookshelf that looks like it's melting based on this same concept. Extremely easy to do on a bandsaw, as you just saw. That's one thing a bandsaw would offer to your shop that you can't do on anything else. Another thing I recently did was made Miss 731 this reindeer. It's made on a bandsaw, and it's basically made from the shape of a 2x4, so 1.5 inches thick by 3.5 inches wide. There's templates available. Again, link in the description to where I got them from, same place that shows you how to do those legs. And it was really, really easy to do. There was one spot I had to take it to the smaller wind bandsaw because I at the time didn't have a thinner blade to put on here. I've since ordered some, but it's a really cool project that you can do with the bandsaw. I've had this really gnarly piece of white oak for quite a long time. I actually had several slabs. They had this really crazy little divot in every one of them, and there wasn't a whole lot you could do with them other than trying to slice off pieces. And that's what's really good about a bandsaw too, is when you get rough things like this, you can actually break them down into smaller, more usable products so you can actually make something out of it. As you can see, I was able to cut that really quickly with the bandsaw, and now I have this piece that I can actually joint or plane down and actually use this piece of white oak. I could have cut that on the table saw, but what that does is introduce that play in there that could actually cause a kickback, and it's extremely dangerous. You're not going to get any kickback using a bandsaw. That's the main reason you'd want a bandsaw right there, is to actually do resawing and cutting thicker stock into thinner stock. Is this perfect? No, I could have done a little better job if I took my time. I could use the fence as well, but I also like just kind of following the line. I could get those both exactly the same, whether we use a planer sled or something to run them through the planer. Then I'll have 2 equal pieces that are much thinner than the other piece that I was going to use. So coasters, making boxes, or veneers. You cut veneers with this as well. It's just an all-around tool that is super handy to have in the shop. The bandsaw is perfect for cutting out notches just like this. You could do it with a jigsaw, but most likely you're going to have a lot of tear out unless you tape or figure out some other way to prevent that jigsaw blade that's going up and down to tear out plywood. It really will make a mess of things, where the bandsaw is always cutting down. And so it's not a zero clearance. You can make a zero clearance for it, but it will leave a very super clean cut, as you can see here. Just awesome. And you can get that perfect notch without any saw kerf underneath, like if you use the table saw or some other method. Another excellent use for a bandsaw is to cut out small parts, or if, like on this CNC project I've got here, I'm able to cut those little tabs out really easily with a bandsaw. That took me like a minute to cut those out, maybe less, and it's super clean. It's a good clean cut. I can sand what's left there. It's just a multi-function tool that you're going to use. Once it's in the shop, you'll find yourself using it all the time. One thing that I really enjoy about this saw is it has 13 inches of resaw capacity, meaning this arm will raise up and give you 13 inches of clearance. This is a 14-inch bandsaw, which means there's 14 inches of clearance between this bar, this upright, and the blade. I really like the dust collection on here. As you can see underneath, there's very little dust that actually collects under there if you have a 4-inch dust hose coming out. Now, I did have to add this adapter just so that my quick connect would actually reach that. A couple of things I really love about the saw is the fence. The fence is a low and a high. It's super easy to change from low to high, and it's also extremely easy to square up to the blade, especially if you have something like these fast fence alignment system tools from Carter. The table will tilt up to 45 degrees, so you can actually cut bevels and things like that on there. It's extremely easy to change the blade out. These doors pop right open. This lever on the back unloosens the tension, and then you can just take the blade off, put a new one on, get everything set. I really enjoy the fact that these are toolless blade guides that you can just loosen this off and it will pop right out. You can push it right close to the blade. You don't want it touching. There's a really good video on how to set up a bandsaw. I'll drop it in the description below by Sondergrass. I think his first name's Alex. That keeps the blade tracking correctly. You see here, there is a window here where the blade is at, where you actually see if it's tracking correctly on that top wheel. There is also a tension meter, which I really wouldn't trust that very much if I were you. As a beginner, big bandsaw guy, I got a tiny one over there, but using a bigger one of the things I really appreciate about Rikon is on the inside of the top door, they give you some how-tos for all bandsaws, how to choose correct number of teeth, diagnose problems, install your blade. Like, it's a really handy guide that's right there. You're not gonna lose it because it's stuck to your saw. And on the bottom, it tells you the length of blade you need. For this saw, it's 111 inches, and it'll take 3/16 up to 3/4, so you know exactly what kind of blade to get for your saw. One of the main reasons I chose this specific model is it's 110 volt, meaning it will plug into any outlet I have in the shop. I've got one 230 or 220 outlet, whatever you call it. It's over there, and the saw is connected to that, the table saw. So I wanted to make sure I could use this anywhere in the shop. The stop buttons are really conveniently located on the left side, easy to get to, easy to press. It comes with a really nice blade. I did go ahead and pick up some extra blades, some thinner ones, so that I could do curves, tighter curves and things. But it comes with a really nice, probably a 1/4 inch blade or 3/4 inch blade that you can do resawing with straight out of the box. On the back, there's a 110 volt outlet that will power up when you plug it in, so you can add a light or anything like that if you wanted to. Also, it has a convenient tool holder for all the Allen keys that go with the saw, so you can actually have them on there and not lose them. I like the scale on the side that tells you about where you're at up and down when you're lowering and raising this blade guard. Overall fit and finish of this is kind of a pebbled feel. It's all metal. You can stick things to it. Just a super solid feeling machine. I specifically chose this model because it has the storage underneath that I could actually store my blades and parts and pieces to the bandsaw all in this one place. A couple of things I would change about this saw if I could today, and that would be a foot brake. I would love it if I could actually stop the blade from spinning as soon as I was done, because I think that's where the safety violation will come from on most people, because while you're cutting, you're aware of the blade most of the time. When you stop, that blade spins for a very long time. It is just free spins, probably 20 seconds, maybe more. I'll time it and let you know. Time. Right at 20 seconds. I wish it come with a mobile base, something this big and heavy in a shop. I know a lot of people probably maybe have a dedicated space, but a lot of us are in garages buying these type tools, and we need to be able to move this around. It should come with a decent mobile base straight out of the box. I purchased the Win mobile base so that I can move it around the shop. I went with the Win version because after reading a bunch of reviews, a lot of people said this was a good mobile base to use, and the Rikons were less than stellar on the reviews. So I went with the Win. I'm happy with it. It does what it's supposed to. Other than those two gripes, that's really all I got. Like, the dust collection works, the fence works, everything is just really nice out of the box. It was easy to set up, just a super cool tool to have in the shop. If I'm being 100% honest with you, one of the reasons it took me so long to get a bandsaw is because I was intimidated by it. I didn't know how they worked. I didn't know how to set them up properly, and I was worried that I would cut myself when I was doing cutting things. But it's actually extremely safe as long as you don't get your finger in the blade. It's kind of like anything else. This is actually, I think, safer than a bandsaw or a table saw because you don't have to worry about kickback. Overall, I kind of let fear dictate when I got this, and I'm very pleased to have it in the shop. It's one of those things I should have got years ago. If you're still here, I'm starting a second channel called Matt Outlaw. You go check that out. That's where we're going to share some non-woodworking and some behind the scenes stuff. If you want to check us out there, I'll put a link that in the description. I'm going to get about 2 or 3 videos recorded before I release any. There's one loaded but not released, so go subscribe now. It'll notify you when you release them. If you like this video, you'll love my other tool reviews. You can click either one of those boxes to go check out some cool tools that you may want in your shop. Clicking the box, get you the big old virtual fist bump. Thanks so much for watching.